Concision is a comment I find myself writing all the time on student papers. Um, you need to make sure that your language that you're using should be concise, meaning short and to the point, and also precise. It needs to be correct. It needs to be crystal clear, and it needs to be simple. Don't flower your language to make your writing longer or sound better because it just won't happen. You also want to make sure that you don't praise or fawn, and this gets into being precise. You don't want to say things like Mark Twain's great use of metaphor, or Jennifer Price's wonderful figurative language. I mean, you want to leave your biases out of an analysis, but you do want to be more specific, more appropriate to the tools used by the authors. So in Mark Twain's, if he's referring to two rivers, rather than just saying his great use of metaphors, you could say his nautical metaphors, referring to nautical. If Price is using lots of imagery like flowers and springtime, you could say Price's floral figurative language. Not wonderful or great, that's nice that you think so, but you want to do be more specific here. Your understanding of the author's argument, the claim, and thesis must be written very precisely and concisely. You don't want to beat around the bush or summarize, but you do want to state it very explicitly. It might take you a few minutes for you to formulate this in a single sentence, and that's okay, but your thesis in any essay that you write is your most important sentence. So no pressure, but you really want to make sure that it's amazing. Let's look at some examples of thesis in the first rhetorical analysis, the plastic pink flamingo. So pay very close attention to the language here. The student says, Jennifer Price in her essay, The Plastic Pink Flamingo in Natural History, argues that plastic pink flamingos are symbolic of America's materialistic culture. Is this what she is arguing? Does she argue, is her overall point of her essay that she is arguing that the plastic flamingos are a symbol? The answer to that is no. Argues is an inappropriate, it's not precise, it's an inappropriate verb here, and that's not her thesis. So let's take a look at another example. Price's essay, The Plastic Pink Flamingo in Natural History, argues that many things are misrepresented in the United States culture. Again, is her whole purpose of her essay to argue? Or is it to bring awareness? Or is it to have us reflect? Is the verb that you choose in your thesis statement has to be reflective of the purpose of the author in the text. And so let's look at this example. This is a better example. Jennifer Price, in her essay, The Plastic Pink Flamingo, A Natural History, criticizes America's superficial culture and its appropriation of nature. So here, Jennifer Price, her purpose in her essay is to criticize. And so that is an appropriate, precise verb. And then it's very crystal clear. What is she criticizing? Well, our culture is superficial, and we like to distort nature. So this is a beautiful thesis statement. You want to be more specific or precise with the intended audience as well. Don't just say readers of the Charlotte Observer, but consider who specifically did the writer have in mind when she wrote this. Why did she write it? What did she want them to realize or consider? She had to feel compelled enough to write a message, so who specifically did she want to read her message? So that's what you would do in your introduction. Have a very specific audience in mind and be very specific with your thesis statement. In your body paragraphs, you also need to be very concise and precise with your main idea, which should be your very first sentence in each body paragraph. Be concise, state it very bluntly, be to the point. Your opening sentence should relate to the umbrella or the rhetorical concept that you're focusing on. Otherwise, you sound like you're writing a literary analysis and not a rhetorical analysis. And while it kind of pains me to give you the sentence because I don't want you all to just use it for every Q2 that you write, because it'll sound very formulaic and, cramp your writing style. This is not a bad way to start your main ideas for your body paragraphs. Prices, irony, prices, tone, prices, contrast, whatever you're talking about, is a rhetorically effective tool because, and then explain why it's an appropriate tool for that specific audience. So look here. Think about what a rhetorical analysis is. A rhetorical analysis is when you look at a writer's argument and you consider, why is it an effective argument? How does it appeal to the audience? That's your job as a rhetorical analytical student. So if my first claim is that the tone of the essay is sarcastic, does that sound like I am analyzing the rhetoric of an essay or the literary devices of an essay? It's not analyzing the rhetoric. Now, you might want to focus on the tone. That might be your umbrella, and that's totally fine. But compare it to this sentence. Price's sarcastic tone is a rhetorically effective tool because it instantly confronts and criticizes superficial Americans and illuminates our fascination with superficiality. That's better because it focuses on how sarcasm is appealing to her audience. More than just saying, oh, yeah, I can see that the tone is sarcastic, but why does she use sarcasm to assert her message? And that is a great way to start a body paragraph. So how do you make your writing more concise? Now, I'm not going to go into great detail with this. I will give you this handout if you feel like you need it, but just some tips to keep in mind. Number one is to just stop and think about exactly what's going on in the text that you're analyzing and exactly what you want to say, and just say it. You want to leave out a lot of prepositions or prepositional phrases if you can help it. I just want to read this one example real quickly. When I am considering about the language of my target destination of studying abroad, I'm already kind of lost here. What? I feel like I'm drowning in a sentence and I don't understand what this person's trying to say. You want to condense it to, when I am considering the language of my target study abroad destination. That's clearer. That's more precise and concise. You want to cut out unnecessary information. If you don't need it in there, take it out. It might shorten your essay, but you know what? That is okay because length doesn't equal better. You want to cut out dummy subjects. This basically means don't write in passive voice, and that's actually the next video. So if you're not quite sure what passive voice is, be sure to watch that. And then make your nouns possessive. That's the power of the apostrophe, which we've talked about in a previous writing lesson. And then just don't say phrases like, there was, in the beginning of time, for centuries, in today's society, I think, I believe, I feel, the point I want to make is, or I want to talk about. That's unnecessary introductory phrases, and you don't need it. And here's a great example. Rather than just saying, I believe the main reason is this, just take out I believe and say the main reason is this. And it's clear, it makes you sound more confident, it's more assertive, and you want to have that kind of tone in your writing. So hopefully this helps. Again, this is a concept that takes lots of practice. You won't master it all at once. So let me know if I can help you with concision.